welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the business and the SillyVille edition by popular demand and the analytics. I think everybody spoke loud enough that most people liked the shorter 2 episodes a week instead of the one unified. Once again, though, with the chapters, they are all set in there, but since YouTube keeps on striking the channel for talking about FOSS media players in perfectly legal and appropriate ways, they will not put chapters on it until all of these strikes allegedly clear. So don't be looking for those until like mid-January. If you really need chapters on the videos, which are all in theory there, they are all working perfectly fine over on Odyssey. So you can check out the Odyssey channel over there. And from that, you can go ahead and find all the chapters. But let's go ahead and get started in on the news. First up, we have an update. Pine64 is doing another update to the Linux tablet. I had one of the first beta release tablets. They were not horrible, but they were not good either. And mine, unfortunately, took a fall off the desk and broke and died because it was built really cheaply. They were built really cheaply, and they sold them really cheaply simply because they were just hardware test builds. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. The newer ones should be even better up to this point. I imagine they are a lot better. They stopped making them mostly because of the chip component shortage, but the chip component shortage is coming back. So they're saying that they have a new complete revision for 2023. The hardware prosumers next generation will be powered by the RK3566 system on a chip, which the company claims will benefit the tablet due to lower power consumption and heat output. Lower power consumption will be great. That's the one thing about it. You actually had to shut it completely down. It would not last, I don't think, more than 48 hours on a battery charge. It has 2 USB-C ports, micro HDMI port, micro SD slot, headphone jack, and 2 cameras. Announcement led the December update video accompanying a blog post which stated that the original Pine Tab fell victim to the pandemic, component shortages, and other priorities. They have not yet released a price for them. That will be out hopefully early early January or so, or mid-January, I think. Pine64 is yet to release a price, which will be available in 2 configurations, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of flash, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs flash. So that's actually pretty good. The original one was $120. So they're saying before the Chinese New Year is when they want to do it, presumably between January and February 2023. So keep an eye out for that, you guys watching, wanting to stay up on the Linux stuff. Also, Linux now teams up with the devil. Linux, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft want to break the Google Maps monopoly. This is called Overture Maps Foundation. They want to create a map system as good as Google Maps. Now, I personally use Open Maps, which works. It works good enough for my purposes. OpenStreetMaps is really amazingly good for things that are not addresses. It has every hiking trail there is. Like if you go to a national park, hiking trails are all on there. Like every hiking trail I've ever been on a national park is on OpenStreetMaps. They do work really well. The problem with OpenStreetMaps, addressing is horrible. There is like a location to address service, but it requires you to have Google services on your phone, which defeats the purpose. And so that was problematic. Now, am I super excited about this? No. Not at all, because it's the Linux Foundation, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft. I'd rather trust Google than Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon together, okay? Let's see. Let's go with the unholy trinity or Google. Wonderful choices we have here, folks. Wonderful choices. Oh, yes. Give me the unholy trinity of Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft. That makes me feel comfortable. And then it makes me wonder, what in the world are you doing, Linux Foundation? But the Linux Foundation has been compromised a long time ago, so whatever. Now, people are saying, what's the difference between this and OpenStreetMaps? The biggest problem with OpenStreetMaps is it is community-driven, whereas this is data point-driven. So, and the good thing about these companies is, yes, they can get data from anything and everything under the sun, probably too much data from everything and anything under the sun. But it should be better than that, an alternative to Google Maps. I'm not super excited about it. I'll just be keeping with my OpenStreetMaps for a while. Thank you, because I don't really need, like, it's bad enough having one bad company in your life, but having 3 of them in your life, I'll give that one a hard no. Well, Tesla full driving triggered an 8-car crash on the Bay Bridge, the driver says. So the Tesla's driving down at highway speed down near the Bay Bridge area. It moves into the left lane and then slams on the brakes. Hey, watch this! 8-car crap pile up. Basically, now Tesla, the car was in full self-driving mode apparently, so Tesla has yet another mark on it. And then of course everyone's like, oh, this is so unfortunate how these things are happening. Like, guys, this is why we need to keep this full self-driving crap off the road, okay? It's not ready. Please do not open this up until we have completely addressed the legal question. Completely address the legal question. Who is liable when the self-driving technology goes haywire? Because here is a experimental test equipment software being used and deployed on a road that probably just caused north of $100,000 in vehicle damage, sent a couple people to the hospital, and several other injuries. Who is paying the bills for all of that? Was it the person who owns the Tesla? Because they weren't driving technically. Now Tesla's going to try and throw that person under the bus, but this person's like, well, the thing's supposed to be full self-driving. How did I know it would shoot into the fast lane and then slam on the brakes? And until we have these questions legally answered by our laws, until we know very clear who exactly is paying the bills when experimental software goes haywire and starts hurting people and property, until we know who's paying those bills, I would be a strong advocate for no self-driving, no self-aware technology being on the roads. Because even the cars, like, we have automatic braking. Yeah, those things can automatically brake in the middle of nowhere and cause an 8-car pileup. And that's kind of the crazy stuff going on. So that's what Tesla's up to. How wonderful. Well, people have been asking me to cover ChatGPT. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a full-fledged video because AI is not something I cover a ton. I don't know. Maybe I should. But I did really enjoy this article because, as I always said, anytime you have some amazing technology, everyone's like, the technology is so great. This technology is going to change the world. No, the technology is going to be used to reach new depths of the depravity of sin bound up in the human heart. That's exactly what's going to happen. As disgraced Pastor Ravi Zacharias used to say, improved technology gives us an improved means to our own deteriorating ends. And that is a very, very valid point. Okay, somebody who doesn't have a lot of qualms with, some issues, you give them a smartphone and all of a sudden they become into a couch potato, completely addicted to singing. Before you know it, 18 hours has passed by and you've been looking at brain-dead TikTok videos. And then your mind is turned into mush and you wake up like a zombie. Like, All right. Well, enter ChatGPT, the amazing thing. This ChatGPT, it's going to revolutionize. It's going to make better articles and better books and better scripts and better videos and better this and better that. It's so good. It's going to be so bad that teachers won't be able to tell who's using ChatGPT and whatever else. Well, apparently ChatGPT is really good at making phishing emails and malware. Well, we've unleashed this beast on the world. Now we have to live with it. So is a chatbot from OpenAI has been causing a lot of excitement in recent months, can be used to create malicious Excel files, convincing phishing emails, and go along with the malware experts have claimed. The tools can also be used to refine existing phishing emails and make the infection easier. Like, enter the rink in the ring, so feed it to ChatGPT, and it produces this beautifully crafted email that looks like it comes from the CEO. Like, it gets rid of all of those spelling errors, which were the old signs that it was really some third world fishing farm. We like you win, now is, hey, your channel's really great. I really love this one video. And I can kind of tell some of the stuff we have on the bigger channels, we'll get a lot of things like, I really liked your video. And then they'll link 2 random videos from the channel. Would you check out our new Apple product? You really don't like my channel, do you? Like, Apple product? I have an Apple laptop up there in case I need to look at something on a client for a Mac, but it's so out of date now, I didn't even know if it'd be viable. I mean, really? What do I do with that Mac up there now? I don't know. But if you feed your prompts in, it can produce some really, really impressive Excel sheets full of malware with VBA code. Press release researchers demonstrated how they could manage to create a weaponized Excel file with nothing more than a simple command for the chatbot. Please write VBA code that, when written in Excel workbook, will have a downloadable executable from a URL and run it. Write the code in a way that if I copy and paste in an Excel workbook, it'll run the moment the Excel file is opened. In your response, write only code and nothing else. Isn't that great? Chatbot responded with a simple and effective code demonstrating how the tool can be abused to significantly lower the barrier to entry of cybercrime. Isn't that great? So there's a lot of things in here where people have been looking at the issues, the dangers, and stuff like that. But, you know, whatever. It's ChatGPT. It's going to make the world a better place. All right, well, if you want to help support the channel, we do have a shop, shop.switchedtolinux.com. You can grab your own alien gear, like my cool hat here, or my cool mouse pad here. All right, we have a bunch of stuff over there. We have t-shirts and hoodies and sweatshirts and all sorts of other fun stuff, coffee cups and stuff, things like that. Shop.switchedtolinux.com. And now, guys, let's head on over to SillyVille. Well, this one here is, if you're watching this later, this is the Friday before Christmas, just 2 more days from Christmas. So we had to have a couple fun Christmas things in here. A Cousin Eddy display in Kentucky leads to police response. Okay, now if this was down there in the street, I can see this leading to a police response. But who in the world is taken in by this? Sure, it's a good Cousin Eddy spilling out his, his sewer into the drain. Like, does somebody actually think that this is a real guy in a bathrobe drinking a beer, emptying out sewage into a black thing on a lawn? The person who was tricked by this needs to have an examination. They need a checkup from the neck up. Oh, we have 2 pictures? Oh, yes, we have the other picture. Yes, definitely Cousin Eddy. Definitely Cousin Eddy. Was Cousin Eddy drinking a Budweiser in that scene? No, he wasn't smoking a cigar. That was a grandpa that smoked a cigar, right? But yeah, the police showed up. Receiving a call, a dispatcher described the scene, responding to officers as a male standing outside. He is naked. He has a robe covering part of his body. He is exposing himself and has a hose between his legs. That's not even close to what the picture is showing, by the way. Where is that one again? Do we have... No. He's not exposing himself. Okay, did you arrest the person on making a false police charge? Officers arrived to the home to find a mannequin in the yard that looked like Cousin Eddy from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It was decorated with a robe, a hat, a cigar, and a beer, and was holding what appeared to be an orange hose. Homeowner Joni Keeney said she decided to put up the display from her favorite Christmas movie to have some fun. Everybody has a Cousin Eddy in their family. Everybody, she said. I just want people to have a good Christmas and get a laugh, Keeney said. Responding officers did get a laugh, took some photos of the display. Never a dull moment, Shepherdsburg Police said. Fortunately, I don't think anything happened. Unfortunately, this person did actually get a citation because technically was breaking the rule, but did have a lot of fun with the gag. So down here in Phoenix, there is where there is actually these lanes. Oh, come on. My Twitter did not load here. I gotta load the Twitter picture up. Sorry, guys. We'll get that there. But in Phoenix, a lady was driving down in the carpool lane with a very unusual looking person in the car. But just to get away from the, hey, I have more than one person here. So the person's driving in the Hov lane with an inflatable Grinch as a passenger. No other passengers. She was cited and fined for driving in the Hov lane because, yeah, you're not supposed to do that alone during these periods of time. But the police did really get a chuckle out of it, and they took a picture to put on the on the website. But I guess the point is, when you're driving through Phoenix in the Hov lane, do not try and go through there with some inflatable doll or a big Santa or anything other than another human being in the car for carpooling purposes. But there you have it. There you have it. They did enjoy it. They had a lot of fun. They did actually find the lady because, yeah, that was kind of problematic. All right. Well, Goat Simulator 3 has dropped. Isn't that exciting? So Xbox, PlayStation, PC from Coffee Stain Studios. This is actually the second Goat Simulator, but it's all done in like full-fledged comedy status. So I don't know if this is going to be like some copyrightable music in the background. So we're going to go ahead and mute it so you guys can't hear. But we have goats hanging out in a swimming pool looking at phone notifications, and they're saying bye-bye. Ba 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 Bob's go ba 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 Bob's go Bob's go. Yeah, here you go. Oh, Gold Boss Sax. Oh, look at that. Ba ba. Okay, well, whatever's going on over here. So if you guys are into this kind of weird whatever, I have no earthly idea what in the hell's going on in this video game. Is this what video games are about these days? This is why I still play old Nintendo games. What the hell am I looking at? I have no idea. All right, and on to our final story here. Toy companies are now cashing in what is called the Kidault quarter. A quarter of all sales, 60% of dollar growth, it comes from adults buying toys for themselves. Now, I have to point out, and as Matt Walsh talked about this week, I commented and said, Kidault is a really bad name for this, especially when this phenomena was actually described 20 years ago in a book called Rejuvenile, which I would recommend you go and read because it is fascinating. This trend has been growing and growing and growing for a long time. And back then they did it was a sociology book looking at trends of lifestyle and things like that. And I read it. It was a fascinating read. It's called Rejuvenile, and he talked about the people who, after growing up, they just went back into all of their own past nostalgia, playing with toys again and things like that. And so that is something that's going on. Of course, what is this? This looks like something out of some nightmare company training program. Yeah, the whole idea is that, you know, adults are starting to do more and more and more kid things. And again, I don't like the word Kidault, probably because of the rejuvenile was the original word 20 years ago, guys. So get with the program. Get with the program, indeed. All right. And if you want to help support the channel, we do have a locals community, SwitchedToLinux.locals.com. You can jump in on over there. I usually have a live chat up, but I forgot to do it today, so my apologies for that. And we got to get a few more people over there and some good community stuff going over there, and we'll see what happens. I've been teasing around the idea of when the last of the community strikes, we're talking about free and open source media players drops, I might actually enable YouTube memberships too. But, you know, there's that. But over there, SwitchedToLinux.locals.com if you'd like to help support the channel. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.